Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Today, I was going to take a look through my collection and go over my top 5 button lock or plunge lock knives that are still currently in my collection. Before I do that, I want to real quickly say thank you to all the channel members. Thank you all so much. I appreciate your support. And thank you for anybody who comes in to take the time to watch my knife, my EDC content. I appreciate all of you. If you're so inclined and you haven't had a chance yet, if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it really helps me out. So, like I said, I was going to look at my top 5 plunge lock, button lock knives. I don't have a ton of button locks right now in my collection. I've kind of taken the detour more towards a frame lock and towards a liner lock, I guess you'd say, more so than an axis bar style lock and a button lock. But there are some really good button locks, and there's some that have stayed in my collection for a reason, like this Civivi Quibit, which is a fantastic button lock. It's not going to make the top 5, but it is a great button lock. Throw it over here to the side, and we will start off with number 5 with this little minimalistic knife for Mr. Designs. This is the Mr. Designs Zero. It is a very rectangular shape knife with a wire clip and a pivot, no exposed blade, has this gimpless flipping area. You've got this super thin, super slicey M390 blade that just flies out, takes very little pressure on that flipper, and it's a therapeutic slicer, guys. Look how thin that blade stock is. But it is a button lock. It is very well refined. It's OEM by Bestech. You've got this aluminum or titanium set of scales. It kind of looks like a unibody, but it's this front scale or back scale and this front scale. And then again, you've got this minimalistic flipper tab, this tiny little bit of jimping, this nice thin M390 drop point blade, and just a fantastic button lock. To me, this is like the quintessential gentleman's folder because it doesn't even look like a knife. Whether you take it out, it opens quietly. You can slow open it if you want to. You can flip it open. The button is very touchy. If you time it just right, it'll stop right in there. I'm horizontal. But this is the Mr. Zero. It is probably my most recent button lock. It's one that I'd kind of gotten over the whole button lock thing when I saw this design, but I love the design. It's a flipper only knife, which is one of the things I don't typically buy anymore, but I've bought 2 Mr. flipper only knives because they're so good. But this is the Mr. Zero, coming in at number 5 in my top 5 button locks currently in my collection. Which brings us to number 4. Number 4, I had this in another video last week, I think it was, and this is the Maxace Babylon. This is a full-size knife. I put skiffs in it. It is absolutely dialed, probably the best dialed button lock in my collection. M390 blade, really futuristic looking knife, very Maxace. It is a full-size knife, which for me is, as you can tell there, pretty good sized. The biggest knife in this top 5, and we'll look at them all together, but I'll say this guy is probably going to be a little bit longer than my Para 2. So it is a full-size knife, where those others have been much smaller. But again, titanium, milled out liners or scales, nice back spacer, fantastically done plunge lock, drops shut, flies out. You've got thumb studs, You've got a finger flicking hole, and you've got a little ledge, just so wherever you're comfortable. This knife is very easy to actuate, very easy to close up, doesn't shake out, just a great knife. This is the Maxace Babylon V1 coming in at number 4. Which brings us to number 3. This is the more recent, this is not the drop, this is the Protek Mordax, Fair and Forge Protek. This is my second Mordax. My first one that I picked up at the Nashville Custom Knife Show had a little bit of detent lash. Wasn't anything that really bothered me that much, but it was there. I contacted Protek. They assured me it shouldn't be there. I shipped it off. Within 8 days, I had it back. Totally perfect. They actually switched out knives for me because I had a couple of blade scuffs on it. But this is Magna Cut. It is done very well, very thin, very slicey. Whoops. And just a banging button. Flipper only action. But some of the best flipper action, the best ergonomics of any button lock in my collection. I love this. It's probably my favorite, one of my favorite Proteks. But this is the Mordax. This is the most recent Magna Cut, Fair and Forge design, but no drop. And that will come in at number 3, which brings us to number 2. And that is the smallest knife in this collection, still a primary carry knife. This is my Wii Mini Malice that I picked up at Blade Show 2022. It is a small knife, but it is a full-size knife for me with that finger choil. It's 20 CV. It is ultra slicey. It's got probably, Wii nails the button lock, guys. Wii is probably as good as anybody with the button lock. This has got a flipper action that's just dialed. You've got a front flick or middle finger flick action. You've got a thumb flick action if that's your jam. It's not mine, as you guys know. But just a fantastic, little, minimalistic, well done, small primary carry knife, tall flat grind, awesome action, snappy detent, just a winner, guys. That's why it came in at number 2. Beat out the Mordax. I love this little knife. There are a couple times along the way I thought about selling it. I had a couple of people that wanted it, but I really love it. It's just a great little knife. And this is the Wii Mini Malice. It's my number 2 button lock in my top 5, which means there can only be one, guys. And this should not surprise anybody. I know, it's dated. A lot of people have kind of gotten over it. I'm here to tell you it is fantastic. It is my second Malibu. This is actually the sculpted aluminum. I picked this up at Blade Show 2022. It is in 20 CV. It is the reverse tanto. Super slicey. Does have a thicker behind the edge because it's a harder use knife. But it's a small knife, very, very comfortable, very useful. I did put no, I didn't put it on this one. I was about to say, I thought I put a Lynch clip on it. Has fantastic, snappy flipper action. The blade drops home. Fits my hand like an absolute glove. Just a fantastic knife. For some reason, I'm surprised, but the Wharncliffe doesn't speak to me, or I would pick up a Wharncliffe too. I'm just such a fan of Protek and of their flipper button locks. And the Protek Malibu, guys, I know a lot of people say as good as the Malibu, this is as good as the Malibu. Next time you have a chance, handle a Malibu, check one out. It's different, you'll see that, and they're just phenomenal knives. They're available now. I see them from time to time. They're not terribly expensive for an American-made knife. But number 5, we've got number 1, we've got our Protek Malibu. Number 2, we've got our Wii Mini Malice. Coming in at number 3, which all 3 of these are very close. We've got our button lock Protek Mordax. Right before that, at number 4, we had our full-size Maxace Babylon button lock. And then our number 5 was our Mr. M390 Zero. And then our honorable mention, best value button lock in my opinion. Although the Raccoon's pretty dang good too. So is, yeah, there's several that are really good. But guys, these are my top 6, my top 5 with my honorable mention. But all of them highly recommendable if you like button locks. Any of these, depending on, as you can tell, they're all different sizes. They're all kind of different uses. But if any of these fit your size or your need requirement, I can tell you they're Javon approved. They've stayed in my collection and will continue to stay in my collection. I really dig them, but I really dig you guys. I appreciate y'all coming by and checking it out. All I ask is please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for that guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And please choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.